Recording this. All right, guys, this is our good friend Paul June, and Paul is going to give us a tour of Filmocracy's space where Virtual Film School will be running classrooms. Thank you very much. Take it away, Paul.
All right. Nice to meet everyone. So this is just an example of a room actually used by a university professor to do a lot of her own classroom stuff.
Which
Um,
school?
uh, I forget. I can look it up and tell you.
It's okay, don't worry.
So this is kind of the entrance space, very simple. And keep in mind that everything that you see here is customizable. So we can change logos, but we can also change buttons and different interactions. So if we click enter here, this is like a reception lobby. She does a lot of meetings for her things too. So she uses this lobby as like before she brings you into her room, she will have you go here first, and then she can pull you. All of the directors, like yourself, will have this kind of admin view, and you
Hmm.
can see all of these rooms on the side. So
Wow.
you'll be able to see when somebody's in a certain room. So let's say I'm in an office, okay? And let's say I'm going to make a fake person here. So let's pretend that this person is in the lobby. So I'm in my office right now, and I can see, oh, there's a person, Lane Chang, here in the lobby. So
Mhm.
as the admin, I can just be like, okay, I'm ready to have my meeting. So I'm going to click them and drag them where I want them.
Oh,
So I
okay.
drag him in, and now he's there, and now we're talking. We do our virtual, conversation. And if I want to kick him out, then I can just drag him from here. I can drag him from the side and put him back in the lobby. I can, sign him off of the platform if I so choose.
Wow, boy, teachers are going to love that thing.
Yeah, so this is the private office, and
Mhm.
you can see there's a door here, so you can close the door. You can even lock the door, which means that nobody can leave out of this room unless they close the window. Um,
Hmm.
and then the door would mean that if somebody wants to enter, it makes a knocking sound, and then you have to let them in.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different offices.
Mhm.
So we can put any kind of picture and place these people so they're more spatial. Like you can see it's behind the table, right? And behind the chair
Mhm.
here. So we can do clever things like that to give it a little more spatiality.
Great.
And we can add additional features like, okay, this person likes to have two extra views of her room. So she has the great room and the evening deck. So if you click
What's
great
this?
room, that takes you into this, couch setup. And then I can
Okay.
go back or go to the evening deck. And that's this more outdoorsy space. So when you click and drag, you can see the different spots that you're able to occupy.
Hmm.
So all of that again can be customized, but we'll probably want to keep it simpler. For now, we have plenty of ones that are already pre-built that can just be picked and chosen from. Here's a few more examples, different offices,
Gorgeous.
right? We can have people up here, people over here. Um, So there's a lot to choose from. Plenty for you to choose from. And then if you want to have like bigger meeting rooms, here's a 2-person room, a 4-person room, an 8-person room, a 12-person room, and here's the 18-person classroom that I think is the most useful for your purposes. So the lecturer would be in the spot that I'm in right now, and
Hmm.
you have these 17 slots for students. But at the same time, if you have more than 18, they don't have to be showing on the screen. They can just be watching. Or what we can do is we can convert this top row into
Hmm.
what's called a multi-user slot. And so what that would do is just like show however many people you want to show at one time and then cycle through however many people are in that slot. So if you had 50 people
Hmm.
wanted the overflow to be in this top row, it might show, let's say we want 15 at a time, but it'll give everyone their chance to like be seen on the screen. So that way you can support many people on the screen at once without bogging everyone's systems down. And what sometimes people will do is they'll have, let's say, that multi-user slot that holds everybody by default, and then a few different spots for the students to click into when they want to ask a question or speak. Otherwise, they would just stay in kind of like the background multi-user mode.
Got it. And so the first person I'm going to show this to is our partner at IBT College in Toronto, because we are hopefully still on track to start classes on March 6th. And that being said, 18 is a good number for a debut class, but let's just say we get really lucky and we get 50 people into a class, which would be the limit, yeah? And 50 is a good limit.
50
So,
is not the limit, 500 is the limit. But when you're trying to show people on screen, you don't really want to go over 20 at any one time. You don't want 20 people's faces visible at any one time. Like even Zoom will limit you how many people you can show, because it's not good for people's computers to have that much data being thrown at it all the time.
oh, I see. Okay, thank you for that explanation. So let's just say we have, 21 people. Where does Mr. 21 go?
So Mr. 21 would just be not shown on the screen.
Uh-huh.
So we would see like, okay, here's one person, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this top row.
Mhm.
And then the other 13 people, we would probably create a multi-user spot at the top here. And I'm just gonna quickly show you what that looks like instead of making you imagine.
Oh, wow.
This is a multi-user slot.
Oh,
I'm going to drag it all the way across.
oh,
So I'm going to create some test spots. So right now they're in their seats, but the
wow.
multi-user spot looks like this, which
Uh-huh.
means as more people enter that slot, it just expands.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it reaches capacity, like let's say we only want that multi-user slot to show 12 at a time, then any extras, it will just have like a little thing in the bottom right that says list +1 or +5 or +7.
Huh. And so if we have any questions about this, we can give you an email or a call, or how would we be able to access support on this?
So support, yeah, it's just general email that you would be sending to us, and then we'll come in and help you guys out.
Okay. All right.
Pretty
I would
quick.
imagine the first time we do it for the very first class, we're gonna, if you don't mind, have some sort of an orientation on this, because everybody will be new and everybody will be doing this for the first time. Once you've sort of, you train a man to fish, he can fish for the rest of his life, right?
Yes.
Or a
Yeah.
other
So
person.
you can kind of see here that it has shrunk, it shrinks people to fit
Right,
however many people you want.
right.
But this is probably too many. It's not how many we would actually want. That's probably too many. So
Mhm.
what we would do is we would turn on, it's called audience mode. Where is it?
Ah, yes.
Audience mode. Okay.
Got
So in audience mode, we can say, okay, we only want 10 people at a time.
got it. And then
And then
there's
you can
6
see here it
others.
says +6 others. And then here on the side, you can see rotation time. So that means every 5 seconds, we're going to move one
Got
more
it.
person in and one more person off. So we're like
I
5.
see.
So that
Okay.
way everybody gets some face time and they're not just
And I see that we can adjust the rotation time as well.
right. Mhm.
Good. Okay. And
I'm gonna delete that.
right, I think that's it. Good. So that's a fine area for a classroom. What other functionality would you suggest in here? What is that chat thing, for example?
So this chat is just for people to type. It's nicer because it looks kind of native into this space. But
Mhm.
what is actually more useful is this chat that pops out on the side,
Mhm.
because this way people can open and close it if they need it. And they can type direct message to somebody if they wanted to send a direct message. So that's useful. What's also useful is a Q&A. So we could instead make this chat into a Q&A where somebody can type their question, either anonymous or not, and then people can vote on it if they want that question as a priority versus a different question. Um, Another thing that's useful is sharing your screen. So we can obviously do that here.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I don't know why it's flashing. think it's because oh, there it is. Okay. So we're sharing the screen and all the people in the room will be seen at the top here, like where that smiley
okay.
face is. But we can also make it so that it's like full screen, or if you don't want people showing when you share your screen, we can also adjust that.
We definitely do want to see people because I want to see, you know, are people like watching it or are they doing this?
And then another thing we can do,
Right?
yeah, is we can add like, let's say you want to play YouTube or Vimeo videos or Twitch or something. So I can basically plug the URL here for a YouTube video. I don't know if I have one right now. Let me just grab one really quick. It's 34 layers per font. Very exciting. Grab the link. I'm here, paste the link. And now when I play this video, it will show. So all the things here also, I can make them appear and disappear if I don't want them.
Super cool. Wow.
So that's also important because it's not playing through a shared screen. It's playing natively on people's computers. So there's not going to be that like kind of buffering or delay or weird choppiness that comes when you play videos through a shared screen.
Right, exactly. That's pretty awesome. And two things that we have that you may not have. One is that we will have a tutor in each class, like a teaching assistant for each class. So that way the professor can be doing their lecture and imparting their wisdom and knowledge transfer and all that good stuff, right? And the tutor can be reading the chat and answering chat questions and, you know, taking care of housekeeping and all those sorts of things. You know, what time is the break? Let's let the tutor answer that. And then the tutor would then filter questions over to the professor if it was, you know, people don't understand what you mean by XLR, right? So then the professor would see that and go, oh, so I see there's a question about XLR. Let me address that, right? Can we do that?
Yeah, very, very easily. So the
Wow.
teacher's assistant would just be also in the same space. Maybe they're sitting over here, but
Okay.
they have admin controls. So they can also see, you know, things that come up in the Q&A. They can like move people around. They can do everything that you would need to administer the course. There's also this section here. This is called the notes and controls. And what we can do with this is we can create our own action buttons. So let's say I wanted a button that's like mute all students. So I could have that button here, and then the professor and the assistant can also control that button. Anything in the notes and controls, the staff of your team would have access to, the students would not. So they can't
Got it.
mess around with.
So can we create a scenario where the students and the tutor are able to be in one chat, and then the tutor and the teacher can be in another chat or other message board or some other form of communication? Because what I don't want is for the professor to be teaching and then going, what time is break? Oh, Phil, you're answering that. Got it.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
what we would do is we would just make this additional chat here. And then
Okay,
bring that into the notes and controls.
right.
Only the people who have admin function can see this chat. So the TA and the professor will see this here and they can be like, hey, what time is break?
Right.
And then the TA responds now.
Okay, all right.
So
And
yeah, go ahead.
so whereas they would then go into the chat that's on the teacher's board there and say, people are getting anxious and they want a break. Let's go for a break soon. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that keeps the message board very clean for the professor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is unbelievable. That is just so great. Thank you very much.
In
Cool.
this scenario, what I would recommend is we would use this chat icon for the regular student chat. So the students chat amongst themselves or with everyone. And then here, this chat we would change to a Q&A. So this would be a question board.
Got it.
So they can type their questions here. The professor can see it, but also the students can see it and they can.
No, no. I don't want the professor to be distracted. I want the professor only to be seeing. So the communication has to be that the students can talk amongst each other, but that chat has to include the teaching assistant, because if the teaching assistant sees that everybody's going like, wow, this sucks, or I hate this, or anything like that, if we're getting negative feedback, then then the teaching assistant would be able to say to the teacher, let's cut to a commercial. You know what I mean? Let's go on a quick break.
Sure. So what
Then,
we can also do is make it so that, let's say you're in this position, this is the professor's spot,
right.
then this will be hidden from him. So the
Mhm.
professor will not see this, but the students will see it. And that way they can all like do a Q&A, put the questions that they want answered.
No. If they have a question, they need to communicate the question to the tutor. Okay. And then if the question can be answered by the tutor will handle it. If the tutor decides, oh no, this is something that only the professor can answer, or this is something that everybody's asking about, I'm getting the same question 5 times, then and only then should the professor see the scenario, see the
Okay,
questions.
so in that scenario, then you would just tell the students to direct message the TA, the assistant here. So you would see the name of that person. You click to this room, you would put their name, John,
Mhm.
and be able to message the TA individually, so nobody else would see it.
And if they were to not do that, they forget to do that, does that then appear on the teacher's chat?
That would just appear in this room chat.
I see. Okay. So the student has the option to message the tutor individually, or they can ask the question of everybody in that room, but the only people in that room are the tutor and the students, not the professor.
Yeah, the professor won't see anything unless he decides to pull open this chat. But it's closed by default, so he would only be seeing this.
So the professor can be notified of something. I mean, by voice is fine too. The tutor can say, "Hey, professor, there's a comment in the chats here. Everybody wants to know what XLR stands for."
Yeah.
For example, that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, they would both be speaking, everybody would be speaking in the same room.
Okay,
And then if you want the TA to send a special message to the professor, they would use this chat down here.
got it. Okay, great. Okay, all right, that works. Great. Okay, fantastic. So, what I anticipate is that we'll have one more meeting, if you don't mind, when we bring the head of IBT College, our Canadian liaison, Ian Garmes, myself, and probably Lynn Spire, who's our curriculum director, will come onto this, and we'll just make sure that we've got it right and programming is all there. So for a classroom, this is fine. May I request, if you have any other suggestions for classrooms, or let's just say we limit it to the classroom, and then is there a screening room? Or what other room, it would be great if we had a screening room and a mingling room.
So here is another classroom.
Oh, I like this better. Yeah.
I would say one of the downsides is that in order to make this room look better, people are kind of skewed heavily to like align with the desk.
Oh, right.
So that's kind of your personal preference, because the other one was very like straightforward, right? Flat.
Right. Okay.
But this is cool because there's a whiteboard and you can put.
So onto the whiteboard, one can write as well as. project? I think you're frozen. Okay, so the question is, in this room, is that whiteboard actually a whiteboard? So can one write on that or post pictures or things like that there?
It can be a whiteboard. I don't recommend it because our whiteboard is kind of not the best.
Got it?
But you can have it so that you can upload images there pretty easily. And what that would look like is we would have in this notes and control section,
Uh-huh.
a place where you could click and upload the file, and then it would show here once it's uploaded.
So going back to the previous classroom, is there a whiteboard or is there a projection? There wasn't. So in this scenario, the teacher is frequently saying, here, look at this link, here, look at this picture, here, look at this website, here, look at this video, right? That happens a tremendous amount in these classes. Is there a way to queue this all up before class starts?
Yes.
Great.
How many, I mean, if you were going to queue it up every time before each class starts, it would be some amount of work as opposed to doing it on the fly. Because on the fly would just be like, you click a button, find the file on your computer and click it, and then that's it. Whereas if you want it to be preset,
Uh-huh.
we have to go in and do that for each one and create a button that's preset for each thing to load. Does that make sense?
I understand. And so can we see the difference between the two?
Okay, give me a second.
Sure, thanks.
So let's say this is the image and we want the image to show here. And then
And the reason I'm suggesting this is what I don't want is for the teacher to be fumbling around looking for a link or looking for something or having to copy and paste, on the fly. That's one reason. The other reason is that the tutor can be doing this work for the professor in advance and setting this up.
so it's slightly more complicated to set this up than I can probably do on this demo for you right now. Basically, it would be you click this button and then you choose the image you want it to be.
Right.
And we would probably have a second button
Oh my God. Okay.
that says select image one.
Oh boy. Okay.
So then what it's doing is this button changes the image. So you're kind of pre-setting it. This button is changing it here. Click it. So that means for each one you want to happen, there has to be a separate button. So you would
Got
have
it. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
five of them, for example.
This is tedious. Now, what about so let's just say that
Or sorry, here's another example you could do that might be easier. Is you could have the professor or the TA just put the image here at the bottom in this notes and controls, and then when the professor wants it, they just drag it onto the screen.
Okay, well, it's never going to be an image. I mean, sure, that'd be nice, but that's the lowest priority would be images. What it would be much more likely would be most frequently would be a YouTube video. Second most likely would be a URL of something like a website. But even a YouTube video is a URL. So basically it's going to be a lot of URLs, some PDFs, some Word documents, things like that.
So similar thing is we could have the YouTube video
Mm-hmm,
already set here at the bottom.
mm-hmm.
Let me put the. Okay, so I put the URL. So this video here is that one video that we just saw. So
Oh,
the professor then, when he wants this video, he can drag it here,
uh-huh.
make it bigger,
Got it.
and then push the play button.
Got it. Okay. Now,
And
just,
then when he's done, he
uh-huh.
can stop it and then drag it back down.
Right. Oh, it stays in there. Great. Uh, okay. Now I see that there's just a black box there. Is there a way to annotate that?
This,
It says, yeah, so that it says, croissant video.
yes, probably we would, that would be helpful. The problem is it doesn't preload. Well, let me see. Uh, hmm. I think the simplest thing would be if we have a text box
Yeah.
and the text box is like right underneath the
Oh,
video.
yeah. Caption it basically. Yeah. Perfect.
This says like
Right.
yo,
Got it. That works perfectly.
just like
Okay.
duplicate it for all these videos. Let me say
Well, you wouldn't be too.
image.
Oh, I see. I see. I see. Okay. But then you would change the URL in each of the boxes.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Okay, cool. All right then. Sweet like sugar, man. This is great. Cool.
And then
So,
same thing for if they wanted to share a web page, we could also do a embedded web page. So if this was, what is your URL for your website?
um, uh,
VFS?
virtualfilmschool.org.
Okay.
Yes.
Oops. Okay. So then this could also be down here.
Right.
Let's say it's that. This is here.
Okay.
So then I'm the professor and I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna show you this
Right.
great website. So I drag it up here, make it bigger,
Mhm.
and now what I would have to do is switch back to this director mode to be able to manipulate it.
I see. Okay.
Because
Can
there's
even
three modes here. There's viewer mode, which is what the students will use.
right?
There's director mode, which is what the professor and teachers will use.
Huh?
Edit mode is how you modify stuff permanently. So that's what we're doing right now is we were in edit mode and we're dragging stuff around and
I see.
changing things.
Mm-hmm.
So once you put it here, then you can use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can like move it, I can click on links and it all works, right? But
Oh, wow. Go back to the homepage for a moment. So scroll down a little bit and will that video play?
Movies can take us.
You are kidding me. That is outstanding, fantastical, and delicious. Wow. Okay. Great.
so then if you want to get rid of it, then we would click back into edit mode and just take it away here.
Great.
Well,
Okay.
shrink it down.
Take it away. Okay. Can we say, let's say we do this lesson, right? Is there a way to save this view so that one semester later, when the teacher goes in, they don't have to redo all this work?
Yeah, we would just copy the room and archive it. So
Got it.
so I would basically click on this and room. Oh, I just control and paste this room.
Got
And
it.
then I would put it at the bottom here in some archive folder.
Uh-huh.
So then that's saved, and then I can change this room to do whatever's next.
Fantastic. So in other words, we can say writing class, lesson 1,
Mhm.
program it all out, save it, and then next semester come back and there's writing class, lesson 1.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that is absolutely delicious. All right. Last thing then would be so this, I kind of feel like this is a better version of the classroom, but how many seats can you put into this one?
Any room can have up to 500 seats. It's more about how it looks when you
Right.
put that many seats.
How
So,
many people can you see in this room?
so the students will see this view, which is
Right.
maximized.
Okay.
They won't have this gray bar.
Okay.
So if we put people around the table, you can see there's 5. We could also put 2 in the middle here. And then
Mhm.
what we could do is we could have another overflow at the bottom that has
Mhm.
the rest of the students.
Okay.
And instead, like what it could be is everybody, all the students are in that spot.
Mhm.
And then all of these ones on the side are for clicking into. So
Mhm.
the students who actually want to like ask a question or be seen or something, they can click into
Mhm.
those boxes and then they'll be seen.
All right, I'll discuss that with IDT and with our accreditors as well. Great. Okay, that's fantastic. And so you are going to allow us access to this software building ability, yes?
If somewhat, it's because
Right.
it's so complicated. I don't want to give all of the people admin edit access because you could delete everything
Oh God, no, no, no,
on
no, we
accident.
don't want that. We just want our own usernames and passwords.
Right, of course you'll have that, and you'll be able to act as the directors. So
Uh,
that's this director mode. You can't break anything in director mode. In director mode, you can just admin, move people around, move things around. Edit mode, I would restrict to only very trustworthy, important people because then they can like delete stuff and add stuff and move stuff around.
so we
in
don't want that mode. Is there a mode where, in other
You
words,
can
like
have just director access. It's
we're going to
possible.
just director access. So with director access, would we see all that stuff on the left-hand side, the evening deck and all that sort of thing?
Yes, because this, I mean, you can shrink it down if you want, but this is
Right.
important because this is where you see where everyone is. So you
I
want
see.
to see like there's 5 students in this room and 10 students in this room. You want to be able to take people from other rooms and bring them to your room if you need them, or move people to the correct room if they're not in the right place.
I see. Okay. And so the student can just report directly to this classroom though, right?
Yeah. I mean, when they sign in for the first time, they'll probably come here and
Okay.
then you can make it so when they click enter, they enter like an office or something like this.
I don't want to see this view.
So
Hmm.
whatever you want, they're like the general holding area to be,
Uh-huh.
and then they can open up their room navigation and see like, okay, so this is what the students would see. If the students need to get to a certain room, let's say I'm here. Oh no, I can't do that. Uh, so the students usually get restricted a lot more on
Mhm.
what they can do. So that's why they have their own room navigation here, and they can see like, oh, I have to get to my writing class. Where is that? Okay, here it is. So I click on it.
Mhm.
I'm in my writing class.
Is it possible for for a URL or a code or something to just jump directly to this view?
So you can see here there's a URL
Right.
that takes you to that specific room. Each room has its own URL. You can see
Good.
it's changing.
Good. So we'll just say, please report here Monday morning, 9 a.m. And it'll be boom to that classroom that you showed us.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. As tempting as it is to play with that cat, um, we would just have the classroom URL. Any other potential classrooms that you might suggest?
I mean, we have a lot of kind of stages, like
Stages would be great for a screening
presentation.
room. So if we're going to watch a longer video, it'd be really cool if we could say, hey, everybody, we're going to watch a longer video. Let's go to the screening room. we'll meet you there after the break, right?
Yes. So here's an example of a stage.
Right.
And so this is what I was talking about with the clicking into. So if let's say all the students are automatically placed where I am right now,
Mhm.
this can hold 500 people. And then if I want to be able to speak,
Mhm.
I have to click into one of these 5 boxes. So I click
Mhm.
there. It says your camera's off. Do you want to turn it on? I say yes, but Zoom is blocking my camera, so you don't see it. But
Oh,
then I click here again and it takes me back. So
got
this
it.
box is just for giving them the permission to speak and be seen.
Got it.
And then
Cool.
the professor and their guests would be on the stage in these chairs. They can grab a microphone, they don't have to.
Mhm.
But we also have a theater.
Mhm.
Um, Forgetting the theater link though. Uh, I will find it. Hold on.
Sure. What is hey?
Oh yeah, is like Photoshop, but for virtual platforms.
Oh, wow.
It's how this is all built. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
see. Okay.
created by Snapchat. So we can use it, it's a tool, and you use that tool to kind of design everything in the way that you
Great.
want. So this is what a screening room might look like.
Mhm.
No, this is not the example I want to show. Here's a red carpet, just
Cool,
for kids.
cool.
Okay, so this is what I meant. So here's a theater.
Nice.
Ignore the yellow parts. This is a guided demo, so it's kind of
Right.
telling me what each thing does. But
Mhm.
here we can paste the link of the YouTube video we want to
Oh,
watch,
great. Okay, good.
and then I can just click start and it'll play. And all the students and people are still showing at the bottom.
About alien civilizations, we tend to look into the vastness of space.
Got it. Okay. So question, everyone is seeing it at the same time, even though it's on their own home servers, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay, great. Cool. Super cool. All right. Yeah, let's see the networking area. I want to see that, please.
So here's like a little cafe bar.
Okay.
So there's these different chairs, and then up here, this is kind of overflow.
Can we allow students into the networking area 24/7?
Yeah. Mhm.
And they can have access to this and nothing else? They can't break anything or move anything around?
Yeah. So normally there's this navigation thing that allows you to go to different parts of the space, but you can remove that button, so it's not possible.
Great. Okay, we'll do that for the networking area because one of the strongest things of a virtual school would be that, you know, maybe you're in Singapore and I'm in Australia and we both want to chit chat and oh, look, it's morning time in Los Angeles. And then I come in and like, wow, cool, let's do something, you know, between us, right?
Yeah, I would recommend, just based on our experience, to kind of tell the students when is the time to meet. Like
Mhm.
instead of being like, oh, it's open 24 hours, just sign on whenever you want. It's
Mhm.
very rare that people will on their own sign on at the same time without coordinating with each other. Instead, if you're like, we have daily networking from 3 to 5 p.m. every day,
Oh,
then everyone knows, oh, okay, that's the time that I should try to come.
okay.
Then you get that density. If you don't do that, then somebody's going to
Smart.
sign on at a random time and be like, nobody's here. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. So make sure you try to like guide people so
Uh-huh.
that they actually come at the same time.
Well, how did you know that?
Because this happens in festivals a lot. The festivals have their
Oh,
space and they're like, oh, and we want a networking room and it wants to 24 hours. And then
uh-huh.
you will sign on and see like one person there or nobody there. And of course you're gonna leave because there's nobody there, like
Right,
going into
right,
an
right,
empty
right.
bar.
Yeah.
But bars in the real world work because everyone knows that you go around like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something. So there's density. But if you went at like 1 p.m. because this bar is 24/7,
Uh-huh,
empty. So you have to think of it that way.
exactly. Or you're hanging out with a bunch of drunks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay. All right. That's all fantastic. That's all I needed to know. And that's, I'm sure that the people who view this will have questions, but I will gather those questions, put them all into one succinct email for you, and then email you the questions. So I'm going to stop the recording now.